Mr. Stang.
We are you back already?
I told you I'd be quick, buddy.
Right. I have started the live stream. So we've got 14 people in at this moment in time. So they're all listening to us, which is awesome. So I'll run the intro because I know a lot of people are excited, and that should get us in nicely ready for our 8 p.m. start. But oh my gosh, I'm so excited. Right. Let's just make sure I don't mess this up now.
You got this, bro. I'm more worried about me messing it up than you messing it up.
Oh dear. So, do you have the live stream on a device so that if we see the questions, then they'll come up? If not,
Good idea. Good idea, mate.
Good idea, mate.
Good idea, mate. Fucking on it, though. Oh, I mean, heckin' on it then, mate. Crikey.
There's a few people saying hello to you already. Steve.
Oh, hi. I mean, hello.
Hello. What's going on?
Hello. Oh, hey there. This just in. ASMR sessions with Tyrish and Johnny.
I love it. Right.
Why is the chat not showing up there? You know what? I'm just gonna open it up in browser because cell phones suck. HoloTube with the Johnny Stang.
That's it.
I found it. There we go.
Right.
All right, here's Daddy. All right, I can read the chat now.
Yes. Right then. So you've got to stay quiet now for the next couple of minutes because they want to listen to the beer truck song. They love the beer truck song.
Zip.
And then we'll get the show started. Right.
I know nothing with any certainty, but the sight of the stars make me dream.
Still in the ignition. All the cops were buzzing from somebody's bad decision. Call everyone you know. We found the evidence. Just don't let them see you when you jump across the fence. Somebody stole a beer truck. It don't matter who it was. Grab a can and drink it up. Best keep your mouth shut. Man, we're good to go. Yeah, we hit the mother load. There's more than enough for all of us. Somebody stole a beer truck. Splashing in the creek. You can get as rowdy as you damn near wanna be. We don't build a bonfire. We don't need that attention. Ain't nobody driving home, not in our condition. Somebody stole a beer truck. It don't matter who it was. Grab a can and drink it up. Best keep your mouth shut. Man, we're good to go. Yeah, we hit the mother load. There's more than enough for all of us. Somebody stole a beer truck. We parked it over here. We parked it over there. We parked it in the barn. Yeah, we parked it everywhere. The party went on all night long.
Right. Bruh, can you hear me?
Oh, I can hear you loud and clear, buddy.
Yes! Oh my god.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you absolutely fine. Everybody, welcome the Mindful Cog, also known as Ty, to the Holotube. He is part of our Discord now. This is a freaking amazing. Oh my god. I can literally like look up to you like this. I'm like, dude, what's going on?
Oh, hi. Oh, I gotta look down the other way. My mirror's flipped. Hello.
Oh my god, Steve is now saying it all works, which is great. So, my god, right. So, there's millions and millions of questions that I know are going to get fired to you. Mainly between the HOT and the Holo Fuel token and how it's all going to work. The research that you've done is incredible. It's out of this world. So it's perfect to have you here with all of this speculation flying around and just to get your view on what is this HOT and Holo Fuel and do your magical drawings so that we can try and understand what's going on. So I think that's what we'll do to start with. And then we'll fire some of the questions that have been asked in the Discord and on the live stream.
Oh, geez. I mean, like, there's a long version, then there's a short version. The easiest way for most people to understand the difference between Holo Fuel and hot tokens is with the hot token, you're like a little bug inside of Scrooge McDuck's pool of money. And then sometimes you can run away with a coin and he won't notice. And then the Holo Fuel, you are amongst basically you're handed a pile of credits that are worth an entire universe. Meaning their asset backing comes from a world to soon be universe wide backing, being that the cloud hosting, cloud computing, digital applications, energy utilities, agricultural utilities, like, and all of these huge industries are now backing your credit, and it's no longer you just hoping that Scrooge McDuck pumps up the swimming pool high enough that you can take a few tokens off the top and run away with some money. But if you run away with that money, no one else can, right? And you eventually take from that pool. So essentially you're switching from two, it's almost like the complete flip side of each scenario. They're almost a mirror of each other in the sense of like, one's really good and one's absolutely kind of terrible. But we need this one that's really good right now, which is the hot token, because the Holo Fuel doesn't exist yet, right? That being said, we are getting Holo Fuel at an extreme discount right now, an extreme discount. And that's why you gotta kind of look at it, is the fact, like, people are like, well, why don't you just wait for Holo Fuel? Yeah, tell that to the guys who freaking waited too long to buy into Bitcoin until it was on exchanges. Tell them how that worked, or ask them how that worked.
Okay. All right. So it's pretty straightforward then. So a lot of people are saying, should they swap? I know there's a 6-month grace period. Are you going to hold off and just watch to see what happens before you swap? Or are you going to swap half? Or what are you going to do?
Course, like, I mean, for me personally, and I think everybody should do that, is it's like you should never put your money anywhere that you're not researching, or else you're essentially just gambling, right? And with the information I have now, let's say it was all like factual and true, I would 100% swap my tokens right off the bat, not even worry about the hot token, and then I'd go back on vacation for a couple years. But the thing is, you know, as the what do you call it, the beta goes on and we go towards mainnet and the swap ending, there's going to be tons of information, tons of new stuff. There's going to be tons of developers coming through. There's like just so much data that we can't foresee right now that could potentially change any answers that we have in this current space on the timeline we are sitting in, right? So it's kind of like a hard question to answer, in the sense, like, I don't have enough information to say for sure. But with the information I have now, yes. But we should all just kind of sit and just kind of see how the development of Holo feels. We have 6+ months to decide, right? It's no rush. It's really no rush at all.
Exactly. Yeah. A viewer just asked, what's your thoughts on the latest price coming back into the bull market? That's a good question, actually. I mean, the price at the minute now is 0.007. We've dropped from 3 cents to 0.007. What's your views once Bitcoin does actually take off?
Oh, that's your specialty right there, Johnny boy. For me, honestly, I don't care about the price personally. Like the cheaper it gets, the more the more chances poor people like me get to buy in again. Because if your whole long term effect or your outlook is to swap to fuel, and you understand just like the value of fuel with the asset backing and the fact it'll be on the exchanges, we're getting 1-to-1 tokens no matter what price we buy in at, right? So why would I want to buy $20 worth of tokens when it's worth like 20 cents when my $20 can stretch further? If everybody else wants to sell their tokens while it's on this huge discount, God, like, please let me have them.
Same. Oh my gosh. Okay.
But yeah, that would be you for the worrying about like the Bitcoin and like the markets and the charting and TA and stuff like that. I'd leave that to you, buddy.
It's just been nice to get your interpretation of it. That's really cool. So go through the hot and the Holochain, then the difference between the two, and do your wonderful drawings, and just explain what it is all about this holo fuel.
My God, that is that is holy crow, that is a big question. But so hot is essentially like, I'm not even sure how to draw it. Hot is a placeholder token, right? So it's essentially just an IOU for fuel. So in the sense of what you're asking here, is it more or less like what is the point of fuel post swap, or what
Exactly.
is so fuel? How do we go about this? Fuel is essentially not only something that developers and anybody wanting to host on the network need for to use, like, so with the whole the RRDHT sharding and the way that the whole Holochain ecosystem works, which is the fact that like when you want to host your sharded information on the cloud, you have to pay several people at a time, right, to host all the different chunks of the data. So to split up $1 amongst a lot of people, and especially when we're talking about the amounts of data, like 1 GB, I'm pretty sure like the current price right now is like $1 a gigabyte for hosting and cloud computing. And then on the top of it, when you go into like storage, you can get like 500 gigabytes for like $20 to $50 a month or something like that, right? So there's like a bunch of different market breakdowns that come into the different types of like hosting and computing. But you need to have kind of this the reason I went with crypto is for microtransactions. So say the value, basically you want to divide up against 100 to 200 people, and you want to put a gigabyte to the cloud at $1 per gigabyte. That's pretty annoying. I mean, I guess you could give everybody a penny and that would actually work. Maybe 200 people. And then you can't divide past a penny, right? So it's just easier for them to kind of use cryptocurrency, and the fact that you can go 8 decimal places below and there's going to be tons of microtransactions, as well as crypto can handle millions of crypto transactions or millions of transactions at a time, right? Like when we're talking about this amount of data that's going to be coming and going and being sharded and spread across the galaxy of Holochain, they needed to develop a kind of a currency that could handle that kind of volume and that amount of that amount of transactions, with limiting the kind of cost on the environment. Because essentially what I don't think a lot of people understand is like when you use the current networks and you say like you hire out a blockchain or like Ethereum to kind of secure your data for a transmission, that has to be mined, that has to be created, and then you're hiring basically like a security guard to transport your data. Whereas the Holochain network is the security guard. It's almost like an ethereal being. Like basically, it is the entire network is the security, and the way that it holds and transmute and communicates with each other. It itself is, for lack of better terms, the blockchain. So you don't actually have to hire out blockchains, and that's why the currency is so light, because it's technically just an application and a code that is simple on top of the Holochain infrastructure. So that's why when you look at the difference in weight, is current network is like, you've got like this lightweight network with a heavy ass blockchain or Ethereum coin, right? And it's basically, this guy is not, the network isn't strong enough, and that's why you have to pay him so much, and you have to pay the crypto so much in order to move it across. Whereas when you flip to Holochain is actually this big, huge, jacked guy, and the weight of the currency is so, it's like a feather, right? So that's why it can handle all of these transactions. It's basically it's reversing the redundancy that we face today, and the fact that there's no real security in the network, so that we have to try so hard to build it, whereas now we have such a secure network that we really don't have to worry about security anymore. We can just kind of live free.
Wow.
I don't know, did that answer anything?
Yeah. So what's your views on Holochain overtaking blockchain? How long do you think it'll take?
So I don't. Here's the thing: blockchain will still kind of have its own niche market. It's not like it's really attacking and overtaking it. Blockchain, Ethereum, all these crypto projects and whatnot shouldn't be looking at it as a threat to their existence. They should be looking at it as an opportunity to build something new and more environmentally friendly on top of it. And it should be more of like a symbiotic relationship than a battle.
Nice.
Right. So this should be enhancing everything that's currently out there, not standing in its way or telling it to heck off.
Yeah. So that could potentially make it more valuable if Ethereum use it as a platform base to make it more energy efficient. Is that what you're saying?
100%. Yeah. Like everything efficient. Like the amount of time that it would take for transactions. They wouldn't really need to charge gas fees, essentially, although they might do it just for, like, because companies do those things.
Yeah.
But like, you look at something like Orion Protocol, they have already shown interest in building an exchange on top of Holochain. Holo's already acknowledged the fact that people can build their own, like, Holo fuel technically for their economies within Holochain, right? And then people would say, well, then how are they going to be better than Holo Fuel and stuff like that? And it comes down to the fact that they've been developing Holo Fuel, and like Arthur Brock has been working on this shit since like the 80s, like the brand new form of currency, right? Like he has been designing from the ground up and studying and researching brand new currency and how to like make the most perfect currency there could ever possibly be. And he won't release it until it's perfect, right? And here we are at the brink of its existence. Like it's about to come into fruition, and people are still like thinking it's taking way too long, and they've been waiting like a month or two. There's people that have been waiting years, 5 years, 10 years. Like imagine people who were in Arthur Brock's room when he started pitching it, and they're like, "Fuck, that sounds amazing." Pardon my French. And they've been waiting like 20, 30 years.
That is so true. Yeah. And we're complaining about a couple of months. Steve just said you've been timed out for 300 seconds for swearing.
Oh, no. I apologize also to anybody who has ears that aren't, how do you say it, efficient in the French language. So we call it in Canada whenever someone swears, because in Quebec, every other word is a swear word. Honestly, I didn't swear that much until I was in the military in Quebec, and my instructors, it was like you had to like every other word, you had to kind of like break it apart, because every other word was the F word.
Wow.
And it was like, and then my mom was like, "Who are you?" when I came home, because every other word for me was the heck word.
Wow.
But not heck. I'm using heck as a muzzle.
Well, thank you for your service.
No worries. Well, I guess we do serve the same queen, don't we?
Well, this is true. This is true.
Hey.
Vanileswa has asked, how will you be able to swap? Do you know?
Oh, swap, yeah. So they haven't really said, but like from what I've gathered is it's going to be work no different than transferring wallet to wallet. They'll give you kind of like a code, as well as, you know, how you can give a label when you transfer your crypto to another wallet, you can label it. So essentially probably what will happen is you'll have to create your Holo wallet. They'll give you like a hash code or something that's labeled linked to that Holo application wallet, and then you will attach that to your transaction so that when you send Holo your fuel or your hot tokens, they will then know what wallet to credit the fuel to, right? So it shouldn't be difficult. It should be just like buying something online with your crypto right now, right? Like you transfer to that company's wallet, and then they give you the item in which you paid for. It's not going to be something handled by the exchanges. It really can't be, because the exchanges don't have access to the reserve.
Yeah.
So for people that are worried, sorry, about the exchanges automatically swapping them from hot to fuel, impossible.
Right. Okay. That's offered some reassurance to people. I think it's one of the main questions, like how are they going to be able to do it, and it just makes sense. It does seem pretty straightforward. Harness Map says, "In Cog we trust." I like that. So, can you explain how the Holoport will actually work?
The Holoport will actually work. I mean, the Holoports are technically already working. I wonder if they mean like the Holo node,
Yeah.
which would essentially be just the same as a Holoport, but with a few extra steps. Wait, there's a saying that's something like that. I'm not gonna try to break my brain with that right now. Basically, you would download the software, you would install it, and I essentially would imagine that you would select which hard drives you wanted to partition, how much space on those hard drives you wanted to kind of set aside for hosting, and then as well as how much bandwidth you would want to as well allow for hosting. No more different than doing like a P2P app now. Like if you were to use BitTorrent or something like that, if anybody's ever torrented anything in their life, you can set aside parts of your hard drive. You can then essentially also set aside parts of your bandwidth so that it's not ever overwhelming any of your everyday usage. So that, you know, like if you just gave it full access, maybe everybody wants to use your amazing NVMe drives and you can't use your internet because freaking everybody else wants to use it, right? Whereas like I'm guaranteeing that there's a way to throttle the amount of data and bandwidth that they would be able to access. I can almost guarantee it, actually.
Interesting. So why would people buy a Holoport as opposed to a Holoport Plus?
Of course, I mean, Holoport Plus, I'm pretty sure it's just more data, more processing power, right? Like it's the premium version of the Holoport.
Yeah.
So that would basically be it. It's just the same reason why you would buy, what are those Apple products? Those Apple cloud storage devices. I can't even remember what the frick they're called. I don't pay attention to Apple. But anyways, it would be no different than buying like a hard drive, and then there would be a premium version of that hard drive that has more data and more power, right? So you just put a plus next to it.
Okay, I'm just looking at the questions. Is there anything in the chat that you want to answer? There's a really big question from Big Black Crypto.
Big Black Crypto. Yeah, heck. What impact does the earthquake in China have on Bitcoin and by extension the market? What can Holo hodlers expect, in your opinion, in say the next couple of months? Well, honestly, like obviously, I'm pretty sure you, of all people, know as good as I am. You're probably just asking this so you can get everybody else to know that the news in crypto world is like, how do you explain it? If you're a long-term hodler, you know how bull crap. There we go. I was wondering how to filter my language there. How baloney. My mind's gonna break. how baloney news is in terms of just manipulating the market's emotions. And because most people that are traders and most people that are new to investing, they trade and they invest on basically on emotion, which is what most of the chess players or the whales are abusing, right? That's why when you read charts and stuff like that, you kind of have to. I used to actually do a lot of forex trading. I'm pretty well versed in risk management, and when you're reading the chart, the reason that charts will predict a lot of the time direction is because everybody's reading those charts and the whales know you're reading those charts, right? So that's
Mhm.
why the patterns kind of work, is because they know for a fact that when it hits the bottom of that triangle, if it comes on the outside, if they put enough money to pop it on the outside, then it's going to spark some emotion in emotional traders that'll just start throwing money, crank it up, and then they can grab that money from the top and steal it all back from you guys. Is essentially what they do, right? And if you're smart and you know that that's what's going on as a trader, what you want to do is you want to then try to calculate, okay, when would this guy have his enough money that he would start then pulling out his earnings, right? And then that's when you want to try to kind of pull out. That's why that bubble chart you were showing the other day works so well, is because essentially, yeah, you've got them abusing the market, the FOMO, and then everybody kind of like trying to get in on the top, right? Because they think it's going to keep going.
Yep.
But then as it levels out and kind of drops, that's showing the whales that, okay, no one else wants to buy up here at this level. All right, we'll see how long we can go. Can we maybe get another spark in here, create some more energy? If not, then they just go, okay, no more, nobody else wants to play here. I'm gone. I'm going on to the next one. And then those guys will go and chase the FOMO on the next one. And basically, why hodling works so well is because normally, you had all those people investing at the top, so there will be a stronger basis for the bottom, and that's why you'll always have a higher low.
Yep.
Will almost always have a higher low, is because of all the people that kind of got in during like the upstream and the FOMO at the high end. They put in more money than basically what the guy that put in what pulled in, or put in blah blah blah. And then you basically, as a hodler, you can kind of just step away. You can't really change what's going to happen on those charts, right? So you just kind of walk away and you wait for those higher lows to get up to the point where you then want to pull your money out. Just set a goal. If I think I said this in chat. I'm not sure if I said it on stream once, but if you're investing in something that you haven't researched, you're just gambling. And if
Mhm.
you're going to be putting money on something that you've researched, then you're admitting to yourself and your bank account that this thing is undervalued and it should be higher valued than what you invested. So if it goes down a little bit below and you get scared, then you truly didn't believe in your decision, right? Because markets are going to go up, they're going to go down, and Holo is one of those ones where I know it's way undervalued. I
Yeah.
know it's worth a lot of money, and I know that the money will come. A lot of the people are waiting, like a lot of the more bigger investors are waiting to just see it come out, because Holo did have that one issue before where they were marketing and they were saying that they were going to come to market and they were getting ready, and then they scrapped it and decided to rebuild from the start, right?
Yep.
So that left a nasty taste in a lot of people's mouths.
Yep.
But right now they're at a point where we're public testing. Like I'm involved in, like, I have access to Elemental Chat. I don't work for them. I am not involved with the company at all. But I am a public outside user, and I can tell you that it does work.
Wow.
So
Wow.
right. So that being said, it's coming. Just got to wait for them to actually fully go public, so that those big investors can be like, okay, yeah, all right, they're not full of shit this time, or they're not full of poopy this time, and on we go. In we go.
Amazing. Right. There was loads of questions on the Discord.
Oh yes, read them to me, Johnny.
Oh my gosh, where do I start? From Disco Dip, I heard you talking about Starlink, and I was thinking about it too last week. I was getting excited, but then I did some research and found that Google wins cloud deal from Elon Musk's SpaceX for Starlink internet. What do you think about this? Interesting.
Uno momento, one second. All right, now we're back.
Windy pops.
Sorry about that. Windy pops. um, so I mean, of course, Google's gonna win that one, or Amazon, right? Holochain's not out yet, so when that contract's over, we can kind of maybe bid. Like Holo can bid on that one next time when the contract's up. But at this point, like they're not really a competitor in it. That being said, I mean, I doubt Starlink would even consider picking up Holochain as kind of like the backing until it's far enough advanced that it can actually support what they want. Although I really do believe it is an incredible system to incorporate with one another. So down the future, I think like I can't see why they wouldn't want to, because we can now put jobs and internet into communities that normally couldn't have basically been able to. Because like I've got a friend up in I think it was Yellowknife, which is like a really remote area in the Northwest Territories of Canada that have really garbage internet, and he's able to get 200 megabytes down and like 50 megabytes up or something like that, or like 25 megabytes up.
Yep.
Which is like for them ridiculously fast. Now they're used to like getting like 1 megabyte down, right? Or like 5 megabytes tops out there. And it's like really, really, really bad internet.
Wow.
And essentially, the way that the Holo kind of ecosystem works is if you were to have like 3 Holoports connected to that network, they could then kind of start generating a network within that community where those 3 Holoports could kind of like sync up with the outside world and generate a secure kind of local internet ecosystem for rural communities, and as well as people that normally like it's kind of hard to think because like most people in lack of a better words, like a third world nation or a third world country, they don't really have the best technology, right? They don't really have the best internet. But if they did have, they could kind of basically pool all of their data together and like their processing power and actually start generating another source of income and generating more in a good source of income too. Like even like you think about how much a dollar goes, or like what do you guys are pounds?
Yes. Yep.
Yeah, a pound, like you even to me, like a pound is like what, $2.50 Canadian. But then you take a pound down to like a third world country and it would basically make you a king for like a week or two,
Yeah.
right? So even if they are able to make the processing power to make a few pounds a week, shit, man, like that's a lot more money than they were already bringing in, and it really doesn't cost them anything else than they already have. And it connects them with the outside world. It gives them a secure access to the outside world too, and a non-malicious one. Because the other thing with the whole thing with the Holochain is, you know, we have these problems with a lot of scams coming in from other countries, kind of like abusing the language barriers and kind of like a technological ignorance for a lot of people, and they're able to like steal grandma's money. They wouldn't be able to do that because their actions are being constantly kind of this is the difference between Holochain and like a Big Brother internet that we have now. So Big Brother internet, you've got like one group of people in their ideology kind of monitoring everything and making sure that people stick to their agenda.
Mhm.
Whereas Holochain basically self-regulates itself. There's no agenda, there's no actual body of people. It's a community self-regulating itself, saying these are kind of like our community guidelines. If you want to communicate within our community, you kind of have to abide by these rules. And then if someone's looked at like starts hacking or starts bending or breaking those rules, the community itself is like it's like almost like AI self-regulates itself and goes nope, bye-bye. And then that person's actual credibility within almost any ecosystem is destroyed.
Right.
So it's kind of like it's really nice. It's definitely going to create a lot more of a safer internet, but also like a lot more free of an internet as well. People would be more open to kind of like expressing themselves, not worried about, you know, someone hacking into their email and stealing and putting all their information out on like what do you call it? Um when the message is out of position. Why can't I think of the word for that? Out
it's,
of context. There we go.
it's the curse of the Holo tube. I always forget words.
Yeah. But yeah. All right. So did I answer anything? Did I answer that?
I think you answered
Uh,
that definitely.
I think that Starlink and Holochain are definitely meant for each other in the future.
It would make sense, definitely. And the fact that it's fast and cheap and peer to peer and oh my gosh, everything rolled into one. It makes sense. It really does make sense. Yeah.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
I've learned about Lightning Network. What are the pros and cons, and should I be worried?
Oh crap! I did actually look into Lightning Network after I saw that question. I'm pretty sure that I saw that they were blockchain, and I kind of just closed it off after that point because essentially, like most of these companies that are saying that they're offering what Holochain is offering, as soon as you see that they're using blockchain, you can basically just kind of disregard them and walk away because blockchain cannot scale to the point that Holochain scale. Because, like I said, they are trying to build securities that are like. So here's the thing: like when we look at like Dogecoin versus Bitcoin, right? Like it's sure Dogecoin is like, what do they say, like 1,000 times faster and more eco-friendly and shit like that. Yeah, because it's not secure. Like the whole reason that people go with Bitcoin and the reason that Bitcoin is what it is because of its security protocol, and that's what people are paying for, and that's why it's like that's the whole freaking point behind it. Of course you can build a lesser secure version and then sell it. It would be like it'd basically be like, okay, here's an armored vehicle. This is built by the military. It's incredible. Like 50 caliber bullet can't penetrate it. And then some guy building a cardboard version of that and then being like, hey, this has the same engine inside of it. It goes way faster because it has no weight on it. But don't tell anybody, it won't stop any bullets.
I like the analogy. That does actually make sense.
Right?
That's awesome. Yeah.
Whereas Holochain, the reason it's so light and efficient is because it itself is the security. A patent security at that.
I like it. So that leads me on to another question then. What is another cryptocurrency that you really, really like the project of?
Ooh. Actually, I've been keeping on my eyes almost since day one, crypto, because it caught my eye. I really liked the idea of the tech, but their presence worried me because essentially, so let's go back. I discovered this company called Ernex, and they're making Persian carpets, right? Persian rugs. And they have like the complete kind of like the tokenomic system structure of a rug pull, which is like, like the whole 10% tax on every transaction, 5% to the community, freaking 5% into a burn wallet and blah, 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 right? Like just like that whole kind of the typical DeFi shit that we're seeing pop up everywhere.
Yep.
So I thought it was like they were just kind of like being in your face, like, like a rug, like they're making rugs, like NFT rugs. And I was like, okay. Like these guys have some serious cojones. So I kept my eye on them. And turns out, no, actually, that's exactly what they were doing. They were making these beautiful Persian rugs, putting in RFID chips into them, and selling, like basically turning real life objects into NFTs. And they don't. And so we've confirmed that that's all there. They've already produced their first carpet, which is absolutely gorgeous. They're sending one to CZ Binance, who has also acknowledged them as a company. I've got some information from them. I actually was in a call with their co-founder the other day, and he's actually like a super nice guy. He confirmed a lot of suspicions I had. I was like, wait, why are they just doing rugs and carpets? Like that doesn't make any sense. Why would they not do like art and purses and like other valuables? Because having an RFID chip, like let's say in the future we decide purses are their only value is the RFID chip, right? No one will steal them because the NFT is completely traceable back to every source of wallet it touches. So no one could ever actually claim the value of that RFID chip. And then if you pull the RFID chip out, then the purse is then doesn't have any value. So I think that, going into kind of like a high-end consumer level with kind of like an NFT outlook is a really smart idea. And as well as when you look at art and stuff like that, if they're all NFT chipped, then you don't need to call an appraiser from halfway across the world for like $1 million and take that hit on you. You can just put your phone up to the piece of art, the purse, and it'll scan the NFT chip and it'll tell you, okay, this is who drew it, this is the artist, right? Like this is all the materials used in the painting, this is where it came from, this is all the people who have owned it, and this is how much it's currently worth, right? Like just at the tip of your hand, you can now be like your own appraiser, and there's like an authentication system within the entire like commerce section, right? Like so, and that's the way they want to go. So within the next month, they are going to be listed on a tier 1 exchange. They've already put out all the paperwork. They've sent all the money. It's just a matter of time before it's on there now. They won't tell us who, but my suspicions there are, since they've got such a relationship with CZ, I'm having a feeling it's got to be Binance.
Binance, yeah.
And their first rug is a Binance rug, so it just makes sense. And then after they have that, they'll get a bunch of other listings just naturally off of that. And they're waiting for that. They have an auction house ready for their carpets and material and like other artistic products. So it's all ready. They're just waiting for it because right now it's a pain in the ass to buy. So they're waiting till it's easier to buy before they start their auction house up. And yeah, I mean, I think that's definitely another one to look out for. I love backing technology. That's definitely a technology I can see working. Like basically it upgrades the real world into kind of this whole digital security, right? So it's bridging the new and the old together.
Wow. That's deep.
Yeah.
I wasn't expecting that kind of an answer. That's awesome. I'm gonna research that myself. It sounds ace.
Honestly, like on my Twitter, I actually posted a video that they just released. You should watch it. It's actually like so they have a really interesting way. Like if you're an artist, by the way, in any kind of work, if you make paintings, if you make like objects, like you're a blacksmith or anything, like any kind of like thing that you do, if you have and you're an artist, reach out to them. They want to include everybody in their auction house. They want to turn basically and enable every artist in the world to kind of create unique items, unique NFTs in the real world. Yeah, so they said that they want people to reach out to them. So yeah. But that said, where were we going? What did you say before that?
I mean, just the thought of it, how great would it be? You're walking down the street and you see a piece of art or a sculpture, and then you put your phone to it and it tells you exactly everything you need to know about it. That's just ace.
Exactly. And then on top of that, if it's like for sale, like say you're sitting in a restaurant. Have you ever been in a restaurant and they have like the art next to you, like in your kind of like in the booth you're sitting in, there's like the art in the wall and like the ridiculous artist price for like some no-name off-brand shit.
Yes.
Stuff. Basically imagine being able to like be like, oh wow, that's a nice piece of art. Put your phone up to it, it shows you that, and then be like, okay, and then swap your like buy the NFT right off your crypto account right then and there.
No way.
Right? Like yeah, like essentially. And then basically if you pull it off the wall, like that's how secure and like amazingly simple it'd be. Like before you'd probably have to try to get the artist's phone number, make a contact, make a meeting with them and stuff like that, right? Whereas with this, you could probably just scan your phone up against the wall and then just grab it and walk away with it. And if anybody goes, hey, like, why are you grabbing that? Be like, show your ID, show the fact that the ownership is now under your name, and be like, yeah, it's mine now.
That's ace. Or have an unlock code. So it gives you a code and you would type in an unlock code to take the frame out. Whatever,
Yeah.
you know, that's so awesome. Wow. Okay. I'm learning so much tonight. This is ace.
I love technology, man. That's why I won't ever really put my money in like, and that's the thing with the sucks with crypto in a way, is the fact that like unfortunately the memes are kind of pulling ahead and like winning in times that they shouldn't, because there's really like no, oh, that's something I kind of wanted to go over too with like in this talk with you, is the fact like, so I know that there's a specific coin that's out on the market right now. And they're betting on a certain car manufacturer to allow them to buy with their coins on that specific manufacturer's website. So I'm sure most people know what I'm talking about when I say that.
Not a clue. Who are you talking about?
No. But let's just say that they did. So what you're doing is, if you're investing in this coin, you're kind of like agreeing that it's an appreciation, like it's going to appreciate, right? Like it's an appreciation. It should appreciate. Like why would you be investing if this coin isn't going to appreciate? So what you're saying is like, you like how does buying something that instantly depreciates on the point of purchase a good investment for your investment, right? Like I don't know how that gives it really any buying power. You're basically saying that no, I don't think that this coin is really going to appreciate, that it's actually worth less than what it is because I'm going to buy something that's going to like literally be freaking 2/3 the value as soon as I drive it off the lot. Meanwhile, by your investment should be that it is should continue to go up, so you'd be more better off kind of. I know that, like, buying something with cash is no different, right? But your cash isn't really going up in your bank account.
Yeah.
The whole point of being in an investment is that it's supposed to give you an ROI, and a car does not give you an ROI.
No, it absolutely doesn't. That's for sure. Nice. Okay. All right. So Holo is designed for microtransactions and unlimited TPS. What kind of businesses can you see moving to Holochain? Streaming services, maybe even stock markets.
Oh, I mean, what
Windy
do you call
pops.
that again?
Windy
Yeah,
pops.
yeah. Windy pops. Shoot.
What about Twitter,
like,
for example? Would that would work, wouldn't it?
So, man, I was actually doing the math, and Twitter doesn't actually use that much data. They do use a lot of data a month, but not as much as you would think. If a company like Facebook made the switch to Holo, man, like that is a company you want to see, or even someone to replace Facebook would be better. But if, say, like Facebook bit the bullet and we're like, we're done exploiting everybody and we just want to have a social platform for people to interact, which is what social media is for, not exploiting the social people, and switch to Holo. Essentially, that's like, I think I saw 7 petabytes of data per month is what they use, which
Wow.
is or petabytes, sorry, not petabytes. And to put it into perspective, let's just see here what the exact, how many gigabytes in a petabyte? I'm pretty sure it's oh no, it is 1 million gigabytes per petabyte. So basically, if you go back to my thing of $1 per gigabyte right now is essentially like the going rate, unless you're like, so here's the thing: normal data is like $1 a gigabyte.
Yeah.
Whereas when you look at blockchain and Ethereum, I wish I could find the article. I actually found out how much Ethereum costs per gigabyte. I think it was something like $900 a gigabyte. Right.
my
So
gosh.
that's why something like blockchain and Ethereum, and then Ethereum's cheaper than blockchain or Bitcoin, right? So
Yes.
it just puts that into perspective.
Yeah.
And a company like Facebook could never afford to switch over to blockchain or to Ethereum. It just can't, like, that's the bottleneck. That's the issue with like the hosting, is the fact that it's centralized, it's expensive as hell, and it's just not doable, right? For the added security and the amount of security it adds, it's just way too expensive. Whereas when you look at Holochain, the network being the security, and then the Holo fuel being just like the price based off of like what you get for it. That's the other thing, is trying to speculate the cost of Holo fuel is really dependent on all of us, like anybody who's a host, and anybody can host, right? So what does one Holo fuel get you versus the current market? And that's just how you'd have to justify the price of it. Is it just going to get one Holo fuel per gigabyte? So then you could basically assume that, $1, but it's on a high secure network. So would it be worth more than $1, or would we have to wait to kind of until Holo identifies itself and shows its worth before it becomes worth more than $1? Or does one Holo fuel get you a month worth of unlimited storage, right? Like that would be worth like $50 to $100 to $1,000, right? Like per Holo fuel. So it's like, mainly it's going to be up to the hosts and what they're willing to, how much Holo fuel and hardware and just data and storage they're willing to give up per Holo fuel on a more like consensus based, like a more like ecosystem round, like average. So there's obviously going to be certain centers that come up that will be wanting to more focus on like the in and out traffic, and they'll want like a lot more money because they have better technology, they have better hardware. But then there's going to be Buddy B, who's doesn't have as good of hardware, so you can't really charge as much for it. So that's going to fluctuate the price, and it'll balance out somewhere, right? Like, and that's one thing that people shouldn't worry about is the whole balance and stable. I know it scares a lot of people. Well, then how is it going to go up and make me money? And the whole stable coin basically means that whales can't pull out from the bottom and steal all your money. That's all that stable means, right? Like it's stable with the economy, but it will grow with the asset. So let's say, like it was just cloud computing. And then they added cloud hosting on top of it. Now you've got like another like $100 to $300 billion industry getting added on top of your asset. Obviously, the value of it's going to go up. If you add RedGrid on top of it, and now you've got like a whole utility, like a hydro, like electricity utility that you can then pay for with it, your asset value will go up.
Right.
So, yeah.
Wow. Okay, so just going back to the social media side of things, then talking about Junto. What's your thoughts on Junto and against Facebook? Could it potentially be a huge competitor because of the giving the data back to the people, being a lot more secure? What's your thoughts on Junto?
That's really up to us, man. Like the whole point of social media is that it's a social interface for the community and the people, right? So without a community and people, they can't really exist, and they can't be that kind of Facebook killer. So really it will be partially up to us as investors to kind of use it and show other people and teach other people and get other people on it, because the whole reason anybody uses Facebook is because everybody's on it.
Yeah.
Right. It's something that that if you get it, you will basically be able to connect with almost anybody. The whole point of social media is to be connected with society, right? Like with anybody within it. So as Junto gains in popularity, I mean, like it's different. I'm not sure. Have you used it yet?
Yeah, I've got it. We've actually got the Holo tube set up on there, and we're testing it and playing with it. Yeah.
I mean, it's beautiful. It looks really nice. Definitely a tutorial needs to be done because the buttons aren't exactly intuitive. But definitely, I honestly like it. Like I said, it could be just like MySpace was way better than Facebook, but Facebook still killed it because everybody made the switch over, right?
Yeah.
And it was a lot easier to understand than MySpace. MySpace had too much, I think, going on with it. I'm not sure how many people are old enough to remember MySpace here or MSN, but
I see you.
Yep. You've got mail.
Oh my god. Dial up. Yeah.
Yep.
We've moved on a lot since then.
God, dude. Dial up. I remember sneaking down into the computer room and like smothering the computer with a blanket so it wouldn't wake up my parents, just connecting to the internet.
I remember that. You've got 10 minutes. 10 minutes, that's all you've got, because it's costing £1 a minute.
Yeah. And if your family can't afford 2 phone lines and anybody needs to make a call, oh buddy, there goes your game. We've come so far, man.
That's good.
Oh yeah.
Good times. Good times.
And that's another thing that I think people need to realize is like the internet has evolved so rapidly and so quickly, man. And we've adapted as society. We haven't even really noticed the changes because they've just been basically on the infrastructure side. Not like the UI obviously is cleaned up and it's gotten nicer and quicker, but a lot of the changes in like the accessibility has all been behind the scenes. And that's exactly what Holochain will be. It'll be something that kind of evolves behind the scenes and adapts kind of to the ecosystem. And as more developers come over and develop on it, most people won't even know they're using Holochain, right? Like a lot of people won't. And then eventually one day we might just all be using it just like we use HTTP, right? So like most people don't even know who made that and like what that is. We just type it in or it just automatically fills in within the browser, right? We don't even have to worry about it. Type www dot and it automatically populates your HTTP server.
Yes.
Same thing will be with Holo. It'll just be like Holo colon slash slash your application. And next generations, once it starts to take over, won't even know what HTTP is.
It's going to be a
So
weird world. It'll be a weird world.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
But a very positive one.
Oh, like Jordy said here, influencers will love a platform like Gentoo. I agree actually, because the way that they divide the communities and the access and just like I really think that whole community aspect and the fact that they just call it communities too is definitely a big plus. I think that it's right. The fact that you could just organize in a simple page the different communities that you're a part of and separate them, that right there is a good selling feature for it. And the fact that, like we said, it's on Holochain and will be on the Holochain ecosystem. Therefore, when I think like something like Tinder and stuff like that would really benefit from it. But let's go back to like Facebook, like I'm iCloud. I think you just put an I in front of it and it's automatically Apple, right?
Yeah.
So the iCloud and things like that, where people are exchanging pictures that aren't exactly PG. They don't have to worry anymore about anybody stealing those, and they can kind of and that's an extreme case, but you can now interact with other humans without ever being in fear of, you know, someone else peering in. Because even if you're not being malicious by nature, it's still uncomfortable having someone watch you, right? Like when you're at work and your boss is looking over your shoulder, it's not malicious. They're just kind of like looking at the work you're doing, but you feel self-conscious, right? And you're not very confident in yourself. And it's just like having those people watch you or knowing someone's watching. It's just the feeling of somebody, right? It's just horrible. And you don't have to have that anymore with apps built on Holo or Holochain, because they can't look at it. Even if they steal, like even if they were to like hack it, like take the time to hack in and not get kicked out while trying to hack in, if they unlock a shard of data, they don't even know what the heck they're looking at it. They might get a little bit of of like the shoulder, but that's about it, right? Because if you think about it, pictures are just fragments of data, like 10001110011, and it's just like your computer translates it. So they would get like a fraction of the chain of the ones and zeros, and that's all they would see if they could even process it into the shoulder.
Yeah. Okay, a lot of these
so really
interesting. It's blowing my mind. It's just a whole different world for me. Obviously, I'm TA. That's all I am. Technical analyst. This internet world is just driving me bonkers. Like your level of research is out of this world. So what? Just talk about what you do then. What do you do in like your day job or your role? Like, are you a trader? What do you actually get up to?
A lot more anime than you might think. If I'm not researching, I'm either gaming or watching anime, but I was working 2 full-time jobs while going to school full-time, but with being in lockdown, both my jobs really relied on people going places, because I was driving for Uber and driving like deliveries and stuff like that around, and because that was the only thing that I could do around my school schedule in order to pay for school and stuff like that. I used to run my own company, which was a smart home company. I used to turn houses into computers, and that's where most of my networking information comes from. I've been a networking technician for most of my life. What was I gonna say? Basically, like I hated it in the sense that people, like, basically anybody who can afford to turn their house into a computer doesn't know how to use a computer, and it's probably one of the most frustrating things on the face of the earth, because I spent more time trying to like hold people's hands into how to like just operate the systems, and it was really cutting into money. And then people would get frustrated and they would hate the system and they'd freaking try to get their money back and stuff like that, even though like there was nothing wrong with it. And someone will be like, oh, I want my TV right there, this is where I want it. You put the TV exactly where they want it, and then they're like, ooh, actually I don't like it there anymore, can we move it here? And trying to tell them that like, no, that's like a full new job now, I have to fix where I was. Like, you can't just move this mounted fixed TV where I just fished all these wires to. So either you're gonna have to pay me twice or not at all. And then yeah, and people are just really freaking annoying. Like I did baseboards in one dude's house, and freaking he was like, he asked me to choose them, and I did, and they were like a really nice, modern, sleek, kind of just not in your face baseboard. And he's like, actually, I don't like these baseboards. I want new ones. And I was like, no. I'm like, if you can tell me what your baseboards upstairs in the house that you've been living in for 5 years look like, I will change these baseboards. And he couldn't. So that was the end of that. But that's just kind of like the freaking ignorance that, you deal with when you're renovating homes and modifying homes and stuff like that. It's just people don't know and understand. And it gets really, really, really frustrating. And I end up losing a ton of money just on redoing things and fixing things. Cause I'm like, I have a hard time saying no to people. So like, I'll be honest, if you asked me to move the TV, I would, and just, I would eat the cost for it. I like to sit here and act like I'd be tough, but I'm not.
Sound a bit like me.
Yeah. I will go broke and starve so that this person, the more money that I could ever dream of, can have their TV in another spot.
Oh my god. All right, pick a question in the live chat then. Go for it. I think in the Discord I think we've answered the questions throughout our conversation, if I'm honest. The ones that are in there. I don't think there's anything we've missed.
What would make from Sunny Setter, what would make the biggest impact what would make the biggest impact might be if the US federal government or another country or even large state etc decided to use Holochain for all other. Okay, that's actually, yes, that's one of the biggest things that I see Holochain kind of really tackling is this whole city to government, nation to nation kind of problems. Is like, I was actually talking with Kizuna about this too. They're developing a system that would basically do this eventually. So my old city I used to live in, the town hall or the police station, one of the two, got hacked, and they held the servers for the entire city on ransom. And it was like a huge freaking case. And honestly, like a little town like that can't afford and doesn't really know how to secure their data within the actual city, right? So with Holochain, it's really cool. There's like, think of it like universes. So that city could put up their own solo internet basically within the community, within the city, and have all of their city employees kind of be able to interact with the city data and not worry about outside access into their information. But then, as well as, you could then make a bridge between the next city over, and then you guys can allow the different levels between each other of amount of what communication could go between the two, right? And you can then create like a community within communities at the different levels of government, and not have to worry about like if one level gets breached, if it ever does. Like I said, the security of Holochain is incredible. That basically the rest of it's all safe. Even if they break into one Holoport, it would essentially kick itself off the network, and the rest of the Holo network is still secure, right? So going into that, like if you look at the cities, like each city employee basically has a cell phone and a laptop and a home computer and a work computer. Most companies do this now, right? Especially with the whole work at home orders and stuff like that. You've got almost every business almost that has like sales agents and like agents and like marketing agents and shit and stuff like that. They give you a laptop, a computer, like a laptop and a cell phone. You have a computer at home, and they usually have a computer for you to use in the office. All of those can be turned into holo nodes. All of those can be turned into a massive, powerful network within your little community, rather than trying to have a centralized point which can be hacked and hold your entire community hostage, right? So that is a huge benefit, I think, to the whole Holo ecosystem. On top of that is the fact that like somewhere like my old city that didn't really have the technological know-how can easily turn their entire city into just like a huge secure network. Very easily. They just download the software on all the devices. Like I said, allot the data that they want. The servers choose to only host the apps that they build on their ecosystem, blah, blah, blah. And yeah, Bob's your uncle.
how would that work with hospitals then? I mean,
Same thing.
same thing. Same
Same
thing.
thing. It's just a smaller ecosystem, right? So the
That's
hospital
awesome.
can literally run its own Holo ecosystem, and then basically, if like, let's say that the WHO, the World Health Organization, was like the Mother Teresa, they could have their own Holo ecosystem, and then the like almost like think of it like a pyramid of just like how the DNAs are set up between the different levels of the medical ecosystem, right? And the same with government, right? So that if because with right now, if you breach in the bottom like of any part of like the government's network, you can almost guarantee you're going to access most of any level depending on what server you hack on, right? There's
Hmm.
no like there's nothing really stopping you from going anywhere else, whereas there's no full chunk of data specifically in any one point at any given time. So if you hack at any point, like you're almost instantly as soon as they see that flaw in the network, it's booted out. Like, and you can actually see specifically which hollow part or which server, which node and stuff like that was breached, which you can still do with normal computers, but you need someone actively there, like going like crazy on a keyboard, right? Like
Yes.
freaking
Yeah. Trying to
to kind of
intercept.
to
Yeah.
solve that. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
So you can just switch that that port off, and then it's completely isolated, and the whole exchange or whatever can just work normally.
Yeah, exactly. Because that sharded data, like all the data that was sharded on top of that node, is also dispersed within other kind of like
Oh
backups
my god.
across the network, right? So
Yeah.
that's where like the RHDHC really kind of shines, is the fact that like even it acts like so your brain isn't even as efficient at this, but mushrooms are. So essentially, mushrooms, they have a huge web of roots underneath them. And this is actually like one of the ways that I think Arthur Brock was that described it, is like they have almost like neurons firing, and they communicate in like this community underneath the ground. So if you were to actually like step near mushrooms, they will actually warn the other mushrooms that danger is coming, right? Um, but if you were to cut those mushrooms, they will actually reroute that pathological network around to find other ways to communicate with the parts that were cut off and generate new ways, right? So that's the same way Hollow ecosystem works. Is if, let's say, there is power that gets cut off, there is a breach, there is a break, it will be cut off, and all data will be rerouted to a secure spot.
That's awesome.
So
That is so awesome. Okay, next question.
is it possible to create a payment network similar to SWIFT using Holochain for the purposes of allowing financial institutions worldwide to send and receive information about financial transactions? I am not an economist, so the amount of time I spend looking at like money and payment systems is minimal, but I'm going to see if I can understand the question. Payment network similar to SWIFT using SWIFT I use okay. Chain for the purpose of allowing financial institutions worldwide to send and receive. Well, that's kind of cool thing about Holofuel is the fact that it's like a whole ledger system, right? And the reason that you're able to just seamlessly trade services on the Holo ecosystem is the fact that when your Holofuel goes into your account, sorry, on your ecosystem, other credited like high credibility nodes around you basically look and be like, okay, this is how that was made. He's allowed to have this hollow fuel. It's a valid hollow fuel, right? And it's already been authenticated. And then basically when you make the transaction with the people, like the ecosystem itself is validating all transactions. So like you could technically I'm trying to think like if Holofuel was its own currency, or when Holofuel is its own currency, um, you could buy enough you could buy the Holofuel and send it to another person, like trade it, and
Mhm.
it would be transactable. Like you'd be able to monitor the transactions that way, um, or the exchange when it's built on Holochain. Like it depends. Like I can't. The cool thing about that so I'm trying to just like really break down in my own mind. I'm going through a thought process here. Um it's peer to peer, it's seamless, like it's secure. You could I mean, I can't see why you couldn't build like a TransUnion or like a Swift or like a PayPal on top of it, because the fact that it's so secure. And essentially when you create the application, you're generating the awareness within the application between the two users. So if you were to then say create like a thing for sending money to and from people, um I can't, like, you could create transaction information that is available to certain individuals or certain people on within the application itself. I don't know if that answers your question. Hope it does. But like I said, when it comes to like money and stuff like that, I'm not the most, like, I'm more of like in technology. And I guess that is
Yeah.
kind of like a tech question, but I'd have to look into it more.
I think as Holochain becomes more adopted and people start to use it more, I think somebody will be forced to make something like that anyway, surely.
Oh, for sure. Like, I mean, you can, that's the cool thing. You can basically build any application on it. Like, if you can program it in Rust, you can run it on Holochain, right? Like, so,
Yeah.
I mean, it's just a matter of time. Like, we've got things like, I mean, I get, if you look at it, like they said DocuSign can be built on Holochain and
Yeah.
amazingly built on DocuSign. So essentially, like, it's just digital signatures of currency transactions. So I can't see why, I can't see why it wouldn't be able to.
Yeah. Yeah. Fire away. Next question. Go for a random. There must be
Do you
some in
see
there.
any other? Do you see any?
If we go up before Sunny Setter, where can you order the port? Well, that's easy. Holo.host. Best guess for official beta release. I mean, they have said end of this year, haven't they?
Yeah, they said by the end of this year. I mean, like, if you look at Junto, they said that they're going to be releasing their Holochain version by midsummer. So they can't really do that unless beta's out.
Yeah. Interesting.
Might be a little Easter egg. I don't know.
I like that. Yeah. I mean, I do keep saying that they have said, not in the last AMA, but the one before that they want to get beta released by end of this year. It hasn't been possible for the previous 2 years. Like what you've explained, that just the technology wasn't there. They had to restart everything. So it does feel like they are going to get to beta by the end of this year. It feels really, really good what's going on. And especially with you working with them as well, in terms of the elemental chat system, it seems really promising from certainly an investor's point of view, which is what I am.
Yeah, like I said, I'm not working with them on it. I was just invited to the testing phase.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not actually working on it. I don't want anybody to get confused with that, or like all will be like, oh, who's this guy think he is? I asked what coins you follow. I answered that. Basically, like, so other than Ernex and Holo, I have a small amount in Shiba, just because, like, from like a logical standpoint, they're everything that as from a Doge investment standpoint, what they think they're investing in is essentially what Shiba is. And Doge is definitely nothing like what people think that they're investing in. It has no utility, it has no purpose, it has no active development, right? Like, there's really, like, I don't understand why people put their money there. Like, when I break down the fact of like what cryptocurrency kind of like is like that pool of money, almost like a Ponzi-esque scheme thing. When it has no utility, there's no really reason for the money to be there other than to make money.
Yeah.
And more than likely for the average investor, you're not going to make more than like, there's a guy that owns 30% of it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
He can drop the price by 50% in one move.
Yeah.
One move, he can drop the entire value of the pot by 50%. And then that would obviously instill fear and all that stuff like that. But anyways, Shiba, they're building an exchange. They're supporting charities. They're supporting artists. They actually have like an active artist fund, like, that they support artists for, which is what I thought Doge was when I was first introduced to it. It was supposed to be like backing up like people who create memes and stuff like that. But
Yeah.
even the developers of Doge don't even know why the hell people are touching it, because they themselves think it's fucking stupid.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, it is scary, and we saw in 2017 certainly BitConnect. Are we seeing that again? Is that a replay in the 2021 bull market?
I mean, when I try to like logically look at things like Doge or even like SafeMoon kind of scares me a little bit in the
Yeah.
sense that there are way too many celebrities endorsing that. That should be a red flag on the first part. I understand that they're working towards some sort of like community involvement of some sort. Like I haven't looked too much into it, but I've looked enough that I haven't really found anything other than on their roadmap that they're developing a credit card to spend your SafeMoon. Eventually, and they've merged with a nation, I think in Africa somewhere. I can't remember what the name of it was, but they're now like an official crypto of this like nation, and like they're doing some interesting work. But at the same time, it's just like it's weird how much money they're putting into advertisement when there's really no utility to back it up. When we talk about things like Holochain, where it's like there's absolutely no marketing, and a shitload of utility to market, even like as it stands, like there is like utility like so close to development that they could technically, like people are already developing on it. Oh, and that's the other thing. So from a developer standpoint, why they aren't on it right now is so Holochain is still in development, so it changes regularly. Like we've seen the host list of how many like active hosts there are hosting like reset to zero several times, even in the last few months, right? Because they've made the upgrades, they've pushed them out, and it's like a turnover. So now as a developer, one of those strings of codes that could have changed or some of the development could completely make you have to redevelop over again, right? So that's why you're not seeing the developers right now. Even Firefox, like the CEO of Firefox said, once Holochain is in its full release, they'll start looking at it and they'll actually more than likely develop a product on it, right?
Yeah.
And that would be the same for anybody who has like a sense of sanity and respect for themselves, because it would be really hard to develop on it right now. And the fact that there are companies actively developing on it show you how, like, just show you the fact that people want this. People want to develop on so badly, they're willing to go through this headache and this growing pain with the Holochain development in order to be the first on the market, be the first ones in the public eye, right? And that's kind of like the similar risk we're taking as investors, is the fact that it's going through a lot of pains of like in the charts and going up and down and like news and just market manipulations and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And we are just kind of taking that risk right now because we know in the future how much is going to be worth and how valuable it will be, right?
Yep.
So it's the same idea, like from investor or developer standpoint. Like the people that are in it now are freaking, we got the big five heads.
Looking forward to the future. I don't want to wish
Hell
my life
yeah.
away, but oh my gosh, when things start to roll, it's going to seriously. I think the Holotube and everybody in it's just going to explode in that fact. Certainly, I mean, your level of knowledge is insane. We've got the crypto truth. We've got big black crypto. Like everybody is going to wanting to be pulling that information from you lot, and you're all there in one place on the Discord, which is ace. So
Ooh.
yeah.
Speaking of that, maybe we should all put something together and kind of collaborate on a show together where all information can be in one place. What do you think?
Oh my god, I think I'm 100% up for that. I think I'm totally up for that. Definitely.
I honestly think like a lot of us could probably put together a pretty informative like weekly kind of show where you get like your crypto news, your crypto breakdown, like your TAs, you've got your technology updates, you've got your like kind of like your fundamentals and like philosophy kind of like theoreticals, all in one happy little place.
I wonder what we'd call it. Oh my gosh.
What would we call it? Have we just
Could it already be in play? Ooh, spoiler
Wait.
alert!
Is it?
Okay, no, it is an announcement. That is what we are going to do, team. We're going to have all of us all together collaborating some information. I don't think Big Black Crypto really knows yet all the crypto truth, but that is what's going to happen. I think it's going to be so cool and so informative that you get this weekly update. So yeah, the team, the Avengers, have assembled.
5, 4.
Okay. I mean, we've had you now for an hour and a quarter.
Oh my gosh.
Do you want to go freelance, or do you feel like we have pretty much covered everything that we possibly can at this moment? I think we have, certainly for tonight. But if there's anything that you want to say that we haven't discussed yet in relation to the development stage, Holo Fuel, beta release, or anything, what we need to expect, if there's anything that just played in your mind.
I mean, honestly, I don't think that there is much that we haven't really covered that needs to be addressed. Just hold on to your seats, man, because like honestly, when it takes off, if you're not on the rocket already, they're not waiting for you.
Yeah.
Right, like that's just the whole thing about hodling is it's like if you're buying in at the FOMO stage, you're likely in too late, because it's like, so, and that's the other thing is it works both ways. So coming from the risk management side of things, so they're watching a lot of these brokers and stuff like that, because when you list a future and you put your stop loss in and stuff like that, they have that information. They see all of you with all of your stop losses, by the way. So they know how far to drop to liquidate how many people they need to liquidate, and they know they can see when the positions give up and like when people are buying more than they're selling. Like they have all this information. They've got bots that collect all this information, and basically if you're at the point where you're about to give up and sell, is essentially usually the point that most people are, because as a collective we all run a lot on the same, and that's usually right about the time that it's about to blow back up.
Yeah.
Because you amongst everybody else will be the ones going up. I'm not saying that's a guaranteed strategy, and you should like, especially like, I would never ever in my life recommend using leverage. That's a dangerous game. Like I said, they have all your information. They know your positions. So they know where to stop before your positions are hit, and they know where to stop to liquidate you, or they know where to pull to liquidate you. And that being said, it's, if you are to ever go down the route of using futures and leverage and stuff like that, margin trading, make sure you use stop loss if you're not using money that you like, especially if you're using a big lot size that you can't really afford. I would say always make sure, like, know your limits, play within them. That's a saying within Ontario's gambling organization, is know your limits and play within them. And that's essentially it, because if you do put a position that's too big and you get burnt, or if you throw your money at a crypto or a stock and you get burnt, to go into a community and cry and say it's shit and bitch about it is like, that's your responsibility. Like asking people for when you should put your money in, when you should pull your money out, that's your responsibility. Putting it on someone else isn't good. Like, I've only ever given one person in my life financial information, and I regretted it instantly. I told my buddy to pull his money out of Doge and put it into Holo. Holo went down, Doge went flying up out for no reason, and now he hates me.
He hates you for now, but long term.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's what I tried to tell him. I'm like, look, you said you were holding for 3 years. In 3 years, then you can hate me if it's like this.
Oh my god. Yeah, cool. Awesome. Okay.
So, taking an attempt to communicate with big companies. Your idea is so big that without cooperation with the elders, I have no idea what that means. Do you know what that means?
Have you taken an attempt to communicate with big companies? Your idea is so big that without cooperation with the elders.
It seems like it's a not finished question.
Yeah. Have you taken an attempt? I'm guessing it might be asking Holochain if they've taken an attempt to communicate with big companies. I'm sure they have. Of course they have.
Developers know Holochain. Don't think they don't.
Yeah.
Don't think they don't. Like I said, the only reason that the big developers aren't in play right now is because Holochain isn't ready for them yet. They want to wait for Holochain to be ready before they start developing on top of it, because they don't want to be constantly redoing the code and redoing the program. Let's see here. I saw something else, I think. And if the recordings of these, oh no, never mind. I have a question. Will you join the boat?
Will you join the Holo yacht? So
the Holo. I have.
it's already joined, and when we do go and have the Holo tour, which is the parties, he will be invited. Don't you worry. He will join the parties in the future. That is for sure.
Ooh, that's actually a good one. The Pundex or the Pundix or whatever, freaking the swap for Holo will be nothing like it at all. It won't be like VeChain and VeThor where there's like the separate, because those are all still blockchains. They're all like there's really nothing difference in, there's no real difference in them other than what their their projected uses are, and the names of them, right? And the fact it was like what, like 1,000 to 1 for the swap for Pundex or something, or 1 to 1,000.
Yeah.
So it was like ridiculously changing numbers. Whereas like you're going from blockchain, you're going from the market manipulated market cap divided by circulating supply equals your price, to your price being dictated by like the asset's value, right? Like it's a 1-to-1 exchange, going from a pool of money to a world to universe scaled asset. So I don't know. It's definitely nowhere near on the same page.
I'm so excited about it. Yeah. I think it's pretty safe as well. So if the stock market was to crash or the crypto market was to crash, Holo feels going to be safe.
Yeah, it shouldn't be affected because although it is a crypto, it doesn't get its value from those whales pulling out.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, right. That's where that stable coin comes from, right? Like, obviously the amount of money in the reserve does play a bit of effect on the price, but they can't just pull the money out of the reserve. They'd have to recycle the fuel somehow through a system that they've created and then pull the money from the reserve. But then we still have the value on the exchange for it to balance out the reserve. And like, it really, like, there's, then even if they do that, the value for one holo fuel at that time is the value for one holo fuel.
Yeah.
Depending on, like I said, how much data we're willing to give up as hosts to per holo fuel.
Wow. Yeah. Dude, you are awesome. Oh my gosh. I think we have literally,
awesome.
I think we've exhausted you completely. We've had you for an hour and a half now. I don't think there's any more questions coming in from what I can see. Will internet providers be interested in Holochain? Well, that's actually quite a good question.
I mean, that's a different layer, essentially. I mean, yeah. See, that's you could. That's the thing. Like, what do you define as the internet, right? Is it like the access information to like all the outside world, or is your internet within your localized community and only access to what you guys provide within that community? Like something like Verizon selling Holochain, or building on top of Holochain, I don't think that's likely, but I mean, it would be kind of cool to see an internet service provider and like Holo ecosystem get big enough that we could eventually see something like, I mean,
It's too early to say anything, isn't it?
Yeah, it really just depends because that's like a whole different interaction being an internet provider. I've worked for enough of them. I'm just trying to like tell you what. I will ponder that question, and I'm going to be live tomorrow on my channel.
Oh, yes.
And I will answer. I'll try to answer it then because like I feel like that's something I really would have to think about and draw a bunch on my whiteboard and stuff like that to kind of see the relationship between the two if there was like a way to actually have like a hollow internet separate like ISP. I don't know, like that's you've given me something to think about. Thank you, sir.
When are you going live tomorrow? Get your advertisement out.
I think I have it set for 2 p.m. Eastern time. So it is right now 4:26, so 2.5 hours in the past, but tomorrow.
Right. I will be there.
Hell yeah.
That's going to be awesome.
Yeah. If I was Jeff Bezos, would I buy hot? Hell yeah.
Of course. Why wouldn't
I would
you?
my hot account would look so mint right now.
Can you cross streams without killing the planet? I don't know if that's a Ghostbusters analogy or what. Steve's been serious. Oh dear.
You cross streams without killing the planet. See, when I think cross streams, I'm thinking of something very different. Not sure if you've ever heard of sword fighting, but
oh my gosh. Right.
I think, yeah.
Yep, Ghostbusters. Yeah. Right, buddy. Thank you so much for one, participating in the Discord. If there's any questions, I am sure Ty will be more than happy to answer them in the Discord over a period of time. Please do not harass him in the Discord. Just enjoy that we have him there, and that you do have a contact if you wish to ask a technical question. But seriously, buddy, it's nice to have you on board. Certainly the Holo yacht, and cannot wait for more of these to happen.
I appreciate being here. Yeah, no, I definitely can't wait. We got to do this again, buddy.
Yep. Well, we've got to do it weekly now, haven't we? So we've already announced it.
Oh shoot! Yeah, well, let's get on that. Don't you have like a crew of slaves that you make your videos with?
I wish. I mean, we've got Steve. Steve is the one that keeps me right. We've got Marvin, who works in the background, and then a lot of the technical data is done from Robert. So there's loads of people that can pull all this information together on the Holotube. So it is massively doable, and it's going to be great. So we are, like I say, the Holotube is forever evolving, and look where we are now compared to, gosh, I think we've been 13 weeks. That's all we've been since the birth of the Holotube, and look how far we've come now. So everybody's saying thank you, which is really nice.
No worries. I appreciate y'all coming here and asking the questions. It feels weird, like, because I'm such like an introvert, just like getting information out and people like acknowledging it and liking it. It's just really weird because normally I just think in my head to myself. It's really a surreal feeling.
People are asking when Lambo. Soon.
This is soon, my moon child. Soon.
Awesome. Right, we're gonna close the live because I want to archive this video. But seriously, thank you so much. Can't thank you enough, and we'll see you on the Discord.
All right. Have a good one. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. Right, we'll just end the stream.